All right, everybody, it's time for our last video today. I'm wearing my UMass sweatshirt. I got friends over there in the Boston, UMass area. They sent me this Amherst sweatshirt, wearing the swag. Last video in our tour of the library. All right. I don't think there's any reason to delay this thing. I'm not going to talk about football today. How about that? Okay. No football talk. We're just going to turn the camera around, get going. Here we go. All right, everybody, let's take a look at what we got on the top. What do we got here? We got, this is cool. This was I got mentioned in the acknowledgments of Chris Gambino's dissertation. Gave a thank you to a bunch of people, of which I was one of them, and he gave me a copy of the acknowledgments. I thought that was very cool, very cool. One of my disciples, Tyler Sesnan, painted that for me. If anybody's been with me to Turkey, you know what that is a painting of. If you haven't been to Turkey, well, you just got to come along because that's pretty cool. Here are a couple senior pictures of me. So last time we did those cool, like, young Marty. Here's Marty as a senior in high school. Look at that. Come on now. That is funny. That is funny. Look at that dapper, sultry young man. Unbelievable. Look at that. Got my drums in that one. Whew. Man. Gotta tell you, just irresistible. All right, let's see. Let's get rolling here. This is a whole shelf of academic journals. So this is not fun reading, but I'll tell you, if you want a good summary of where like schools of academia are coming from, what they're talking about, what they're writing about this year, this is really good. So let's see. We got some videos here, but this is the early, let's see, the journal. What does that say? The Journal of Early Christian Studies. I have not gone through those yet. This is a new one that just got started. The Teleos Journal. They have two volumes out. This is actually put out by some Church of Christ and International Church of Christ folks, and actually these two volumes were full of really, really good. This is amazing, actually. Great journal right here. Calvin, let's see, what is it? Calvin Theological Journal. Haven't gotten into those yet. We got Old Testament Abstracts, which this is actually kind of, if I understood it correctly, this is years ago when I went through this, like probably 15 years ago. And they go all the way to here. So they started here. But then they went to here. And I believe this was kind of like Catholic archaeological scholarship in maybe like the 70s, 80s, 90s. I can't remember. It's been so long since I looked at it. But this was actually super helpful for me. These were not fun reads at all. But as I was kind of waking up to the world of scholarship and archaeology, reading these was actually really eye-opening, of kind of helping me know what the world of archaeology looks like. Do we have the Wesleyan Journal here? What do we got here? I can't read it on my camera, which means you guys can't read it. I'm going to look at it here. Yep, that's the Wesleyan Theological Journal. And then you have the Journal of Second Century History. So there you go. That's fun. And then I mentioned I have a little portion of my Christian history library that started there. Kind of worked from Philo and Josephus. This is Old Testament into, and I have a whole section, if you remember, upstairs, I have like a whole section of Jewish Israel history. So this is more, I don't even know why that book made it down here, probably because it didn't fit on my shelf upstairs. But this is more like Second Temple Judaism. And now we have like Christian thought. This was actually a really, it was, let me be very careful with what I say here. It was not an entertaining read at all. It was unbelievably thorough. 3 volumes of the history of Christian thought by Gusto Gonzalez, and really good. Some of this stuff I have not read these yet, but here the Christian History Project. I recommend these on the podcast, especially when we start talking about Revelation. The Veil is Torn, A Pinch of Incense. By this sign, excellent, and beautiful. Like, hold on, let me pull this off the shelf here. This is really hard to do with one hand. Check this out. Look how gorgeous this thing is. Hard. These are not cheap. These copies are used, and they were still unbelievably expensive. But just beautiful reads. Can you see that? Kind of like these. I don't want to call it illustrated. What do you want to call that? But just really cool. Excellent little. I believe there was 12 volumes. I know there was supposed to be 12 volumes, and I think they got them done, but heck if I know. Heck if I know. Let's see here. And then the Genesis of Science, I thought was an educational read. There's another copy of the Fox's Book of Martyrs. Did I read that one? I have not read that one yet. A bunch of other just history stuff that I have not read. I inherited like almost all of this section right here, so I have not read hardly any of this. And then eventually you get to America, God and Country. What is this, The Cross and Sanctification? No. The Stone Campbell. Ooh, I have not read that one yet. Is that the Stone Campbell movement? Yeah, okay. Who is that one by? Garrett? All right, interesting. What is that one? More Stone Campbell movement. Oh boy. Boy, do I got some fun Stone Campbell reading ahead of me. Whew. What do we got down here? Oh, I went to the Packer game with my buddy this year. Watched them beat the Steelers as a Bengals fan. I told you I wasn't going to talk about football. Sorry. There you go. It was a little memento from the Packers game. There's my daughter. Uh-oh, more football stuff. Okay. Told you I wasn't going to do football. Yeah, just a bunch of random books here. I've read about half of these. Radical by Platt. Yeah. It didn't blow me out of the water, but it wasn't horrible. Crazy Love by Chan. Kind of the same thing. I'm not in love with those books. I'm not in love with Chan's work. There's always great stuff, though, in it. Wild at Heart by Eldridge. Roaring Lambs. I do love Bob Goff. Whenever you get a chance to read Bob Goff, you're never going to be disappointed. The Idolatry of God by Peter Rollins. Oh, so good. Waking the Dead, probably maybe my favorite of Eldridge's works, but it's been a long time. I don't know if I would still say that. Would I still say that? I don't know. Surviving a Shipwreck. Excellent, excellent, excellent book. What do we got over here? Oh, yes, this is my marriage, sexuality, all that kind of stuff. I have read almost all of these. And I just won't offer a whole bunch of commentary on most of these, because if you don't have something nice to say, don't say nothing at all. So there you go. I'm not in love with most of these. This was okay. Saving Your Marriage. Let's see here. I think there's Smalley's book in here somewhere about Way to a Woman's Heart. That was early when I was before I was married, we read that. I particularly liked Sex God by Rob Bell. Is that Crab? I cannot remember how I felt about Crab. And then His Needs, Her Needs. Actually, Harley, it's kind of like, it's not super profound or going to blow you out of the water, but I thought that was okay. We actually talk about that quite a bit. Was not in love with the science of a woman. Yeah. Boy, what fun. Okay, moving on. Moving on, everybody. Next shelf. They always told me, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say nothing at all. All right, here we go. Bunch of books I haven't read here. I've read some. Swindoll. Living Above the Level of Mediocrity. Is that Swindoll? Yeah. Leap Over a Wall by Peterson was excellent. What a great book. Recovered was a cool story from Robbie Gallaty. It's kind of his life story. A lot of these books were good. When God Interrupts was an excellent book as well. It used to be on my favorite shelf and recently fell off. Great book. Yeah, I have not read a lot of these. I think Tough Times, I think I read that one. Can't remember anything about it. Yeah, I read a lot of these things by Coulson, Swindoll. Yeah, that's about all I'll say about that. I think I've read all my Swindoll library. Ooh, I do remember reading the Rush Limbaugh book. I will keep my comments to myself, but Wowzers. Somebody turned a book upside down. I hate it when my friends come over. It's probably Reed Dent when he was here turned my book upside down. Have not read some of those. What do I got down here? Some bibliographies. Or not bibliography, excuse me, some autobiographies. So what do I got here? I read Ronald Reagan's, I read Richard Nixon's autobiography. I can't remember if, actually, man, I don't know if I've read Reagan's now. Maybe that's what I wanted to get to next when I get to the part of my library. Because I can't remember if it was an autobiography. Yeah, it was not. It's by, yeah. Anyway, sorry. I read Chuck Colson's book, Born Again. I've read some of these. I have not gotten to most of them yet. I can only do like one. Like, look at these things. Look at those suckers. Richard Nixon. Man, that was a huge, huge book. So I can only do like a few of these at a time. And by a few, I mean like one at a time. So I don't make my way through this section of my library very fast. We Carry Kevin. What a book. We'll have him on the podcast here coming up soon. Kevin Chandler. What a cool. That was, yeah. That was great. And then some people gave me their That the World May Know libraries on like cassette. That's funny. VHS. Whew. That's good stuff. Anyway, there you go. Nothing real crazy down there. A bunch of like weird socio-political books. And I've read a few of them, but not most of them. So yeah. So there you go. I'm going to turn my camera around again. That was our last shelf. We've done it. So we did it, everybody. We did it. We made it through the whole library. That's the last shelf. So we've done it. We've gone through it all. And Marty still has a bunch of books on order. He still has a bunch of books he needs to read. He still has a bibliography he's trying to work through from his own teachers. So all of the really good books that I usually even sort, I source and I cite on the podcast or use to influence me are books that I don't even own in my own library yet, because they're books I've had to either use or borrow or access in other ways because it's what my teachers were using and I don't even have them yet. But they're on my list of books to get and everything else. So I'm pretty excited about that. I'm still trying to straighten my books out because I'm kind of obsessive compulsive that way. So there you go. Okay, everybody. That was it. The next video you see should, hopefully, maybe be some deeper teaching. Let's do that, okay? All right, everybody. We'll talk to you later.